What the hell?
Huh?
Check your back, smartass.
Son of a bitch!
Damn it, Olivia!
Hey everybody, this is Zach with Tanuki Games, and today we're taking a look at the beat-em-up God Hand, released in 2006, developed by Clover Studios, and it was exclusively released on the PS2. Please remember that a like, a comment, or subscribe means a lot to me, and of course the channel. God Hand marks the end of the Capcom Renaissance, the end of an era where Capcom was making some of the most innovative and exciting experiences in gaming. It was the last game Clover developed before becoming Platinum Games. God Hand was directed by Shinji Mikami, a co-founder of Platinum Games, best known for his work on Resident Evil, as well as Shadow of the Damned and Vanquish. I mentioned the latter two games because deep within the core design philosophies of both games lies the DNA of God Hand. When God Hand was released, it did not fare well with reviewers, which may have impacted the lackluster sales. The game was widely panned as too difficult and visually not up to Clover's usual standard. Now, more than 10 years after its initial release, God Hand has become a classic action game for the PS2, with a sense of humor that can appeal to fans of the unique and awkward sense of humor that the Japanese possess.
Next time we'll duel you a killer ham!
Keep on rolling.
God Hand has hardcore action gaming credentials to keep the most seasoned Devil May Cry expert wanting more. God Hand provides an enriching, engaging, and amusing experience that any gamer can enjoy. Like all great Capcom games from the aughts, God Hand starts with demons. 4 to be exact. The 4 Devas, as they call themselves, have gotten together to resurrect an even more powerful demon, Angra. The 4 Devas want to use Angra's powers to dominate the world of man. The only catch is that Angra was defeated by the God Hands previously. Angra waits in exile until the 4 Devas can capture it. Enter Gene and his friend Olivia. Olivia belongs to a clan that kept the God Hand safe after Angra's defeat. Unfortunately, her man-friend Azel killed her clan and stole the left God Hand from Olivia. Azel is evil, so he calls his God Hand the Devil Hand. He now pursues the right hand which Olivia gave to Gene after an ill-fated run-in with some young toughs. As an action tale goes, God Hand's fiction is less than inspiring. However, God Hand has a slapstick comedic style that is very engaging. Gene is always teasing the 4 Devas before each fight.
Huh. Took a trip to the shop, huh?
And God Hand pokes fun at gaming cliches such as fighting the same boss multiple times, or the fact that health is given to you in the form of giant fruit. While God Hand attempts to be funny, it may offend some.
So, what base did he get to?
Don't worry, nothing happened.
Whew, that's what I thought.
As previously stated, God Hand has a lot in common with another Shinji Mikami game, Shadow of the Damned, which was a collaboration between he and Suda51. In many ways, the storytelling style, switching between slapstick comedy and brutal violence, is similar to the work of Suda51. God Hand's dark comedic tone brings in mind the likes of Killer 7, No More Heroes, and Killer is Dead. Additionally, Mikami's preoccupation with the female form in God Hand is very similar to Suda51. Video games usually struggle with humor. This is where God Hand shines. It not only has funny characters, the timing is perfect.
Yeah!
The meat of God Hand's experience is in its combat. At first blush, God Hand looks like a button masher. As you learn the combat system, you quickly realize that this game has loads of depth. Gene's combat moves are called techniques. Gene can assign over 100 techniques to the square button, triangle, and X. In many other beat-em-ups, the player is given a prescribed set of moves, and there is little deviation or innovation. God Hand allows you to create your own combos and your own play style. There are 6 slots for techniques to assign to the square button. The customization is endless, and you'll want to find a combo that works best for you, as well as the enemies that you're fighting. These moves vary from hooks, sweeps, uppercuts, and pretty much any move you've ever seen in a kung fu flick. Gene also has charge moves to launch scrubs in the air, as well as guard breaks when enemies block. These moves can be assigned to the triangle, square, and X. Additionally, you can assign moves to down plus a face button. Gene can dizzy enemies, allowing him to land even more damage by pressing O rapidly. On top of that is the roulette system. The spheres over Gene's health bar indicate how many times you can use the roulette. Using the R1 button, each move has its own uses. Using the correct roulette can get you out of a pinch and change the tide of battle. These moves can be assigned via the menus too. The roulette attacks are entertaining to boot. Then there are the powers of the God Hand. The tension gauge fills up as you battle foes. By pressing R2, Gene becomes invincible for a short time, and he can land some major damage. With all of these advantages, you'd think that Gene could walk through any enemy. In fact, Gene does very little damage. Making things worse is the fact that everyone hits like a truck. Adding even more challenge to Gene's adventure, enemies randomly turn into demons, with even more dangerous attacks and greater health. Gene doesn't have a block button, so he'll have to dodge to avoid attack. By flicking the right analog stick, Gene can get out of sticky situations. Flicking back will make Gene do a handspring. Left and right are sidestep. Pushing forward makes Gene duck, allowing him to stay in the pocket. All moves are cancelable. If you're in the middle of a combo, Gene can cancel an attack and dodge to get out of harm's way. This feature is awesome, allowing you to stay aggressive and reactive synchronously. If you've ever been in the middle of an attack animation, waiting for it to finish to dodge, you'll know how frustrating it can be to watch your enemy close in on you, and there's nothing you can do. God Hand solves this issue marvelously, and it's a wonder why more games don't implement this combat feature. L2 taunts, which can fill his tension gauge. Finally, you can use L1 to do a 180. The reason for this feature is that there is no direct camera control. This is the only aspect of God Hand's design that feels antiquated. This especially confounds the player when multiple enemies are on one screen, or if you want to attack one character and the camera has locked onto another. The economy of God Hand is done through performance on each stage. The better you fight, the more money you'll earn. You take your hard-earned cash and go to the shop. There you can buy new techniques, roulette attacks, or upgrade Gene's health, or the like. If you feel like taking a chance, head over to the casino or the Chihuahua races and test your luck. The art direction of God Hand has a southwestern ambience put through a Japanese prism. The presentation is in line with other Capcom games from the period. When playing, the game has a clear appearance, but God Hand won't be blowing anyone away with its graphics. The character designs are creative though. Even the generic enemies are loving parodies of other beloved franchises, such as Final Fight and Street Fighter. The bosses in God Hand are interesting and eclectic, and you're always left wondering what's around the next corner. All of the designs are firmly in a 1980s anime mode, and it speaks to me personally. I spoke of Shinji Mikami's Vanquish earlier, and God Hand shares a great attribute with that title. In a word, it's kineticism. The fluidity in movement is my favorite singular quality of both God Hand and Vanquish. God Hand plays fast, hard, and heavy. The unrelenting speed with which Gene punches, kicks, stomps, suplexes, and knees his way through waves of enemies is satisfying. While you watch the same few animations over and over, they never get old. In fact, they feel great. You feel empowered by each blow landed, as if you yourself were getting stronger with Gene. Since you'll be spending a good amount of time viewing these animations, they need to feel exciting, and God Hand nails it. The lighting and color palette in God Hand is a bit bland. While the game isn't dark, the colors are a bit subdued. The level design in God Hand is generally straightforward. Go in, go hard, get out. Some levels are longer than others, but there isn't much in the way of exploration. Each stage has a different setting, such as a carnival or a factory. The levels can feel somewhat uninspired and drab, but you won't have much time to take in the sights. While playing God Hand, I am most reminded of the anime Fists of the North Star. The sound design in God Hand is handled quite well. You can use audio cues to assist you in placing where enemies are, which is a big help since you can't control the camera. When Gene uses his powerful moves, the audio explodes, giving wonderful feedback to the player. In keeping with its comedic tone, there are laugh tracks included, adding some much needed levity. There are some other silly sounds such as slide whistles, gongs, and stock spaghetti western pistol sounds that add to the over-the-top style. God Hand's music is less than inspiring. While the game moves from motifs such as surf and synth pop, it all fits in the campy aesthetic. Probably my favorite song on the soundtrack is the Elvis boss fight. There's some sort of Elvis-like babbling for vocals, which are hilarious. The voice acting in God Hand is just as out there as the rest of the game. Inexplicably, the game attributes accents to people ill-suited to them. Elvis is obviously designed after a Chinese archetype, yet he has a Latino accent.
Man, you're a little big to be the sensitive type. So, what is it today?
Well, did you enjoy your time with Shannon, cabron?
The head of the four Devas, Belza, sounds like he eats gravel for breakfast. Each character is completely over the top. Again, much like many other aspects of God Hand, the voice acting works and it comes off as endearing. Unlike held comedy conventions, God Hand has no straight man. Everyone gets in on the fun, and I enjoy how irreverent it gets.
You just don't understand women. There can never be two queens.
God Hand's difficulty is high. On normal, it can prove a challenge. Your hand-eye coordination will be put to the test. Your fingers will cramp. Your wrists will ache. God Hand handles the difficulty in a unique way though. Each of the difficulty levels have variables. On the left-hand side, by the skull, you'll see a meter. As it fills, it raises the difficulty. The levels go from 1 through 3, and then Die is the toughest level. As you fight, depending on how well you're doing, the levels will go up and down. In my playthrough, I only got to die a few times, and it is crushing. Levels 1 and 2 are a much more cordial affair. Enemies are less aggressive, and this is where most newcomers will spend their first playthrough. I would not recommend God Hand on normal for casual players. If you want to enjoy the story and have some fun, play it on easy and see how well you do. God Hand is a difficult game, but rarely feels unfair. You have to learn to be creative and understand all of Gene's tools at his disposal. I have heard that God Hand is one of the hardest games out there, and I would agree with that sentiment. Much in the same way that Ninja Gaiden is a hard game, but isn't unfair to the player. God Hand merely expects you to play with precision, and it gives you ample opportunity to learn and get better. Once you've beaten the game, you unlock hard mode. When you start a new game, Gene loses his stats, but all the moves you've unlocked through your first playthrough can be bought again, and your money carries over. The post-game also includes extra costumes for Gene and Olivia, more challenges, and a jukebox. There are small additions to your experience, like pictures that are unlocked as you play through the story, and you can unlock E3 trailers for the game. There are many references to other Capcom games and anime littered through God Hand, and if you consider yourself an astute consumer of either, you'll enjoy playing through the game and spotting the many Easter eggs left for you. A complete copy of God Hand goes for about $40. I feel this is a fair price considering that this game is a complete package. It's got replay value for miles, and it took me 15 hours to complete my first playthrough. I do expect this game to rise in price. If you're on that poverty grind, God Hand is $10 on PSN.
Damn, I'm poor.
Whenever I pop in a new game, I always dread the inevitable tutorial. God Hand just starts. There are tutorials, but they are optional. God Hand treats you like a gamer, not over-explaining anything, and unconcerned about its mass appeal. The first day I played God Hand, I logged about 5 hours in the game. This is a rare occasion for me, and it's a testament to how enjoyable this game is. God Hand marks the end of one of the most productive and innovative eras of gaming. Capcom was the king of pioneering, fresh gaming experiences. They raised the bar for what we all should expect from video games in the modern age. As Clover's swan song, God Hand must have been perplexing. Shouldn't their last hurrah have been some artsy, transcendent experience, not some crass, base action game?
You've been a wonderful audience. Long live the guitar!
However, God Hand is the perfect send-off for what eventually would become Platinum Games. God Hand reminds gamers of how hard games used to be, how narrative and even presentation should take a backseat to what makes the medium a unique experience: the gameplay. This is Zach with Tanuki Games. Please remember that a like, a comment, or a subscribe means a lot to me and of course the channel. Enjoy!
Why is it that every woman I know is trying to make me her pet?
Isn't it because you're a little puppy? You know I like dogs.
I gotta go.